Hey guys, I want to share with you a story from my martial arts training days. So back when I was in Taekwondo, I got up to be third degree black belt, and I was very close to testing for my fourth degree black belt, and I had a radical life change. I owned a martial arts school at the time. I sold that school. I went to college, and I started training in something else, but I really want to get that fourth degree. So there was a local Taekwondo area, and I was like, hey, here's Sitch. I really want to get my fourth degree. I'm like, ready to test, but what's the deal? And they're like, oh yeah, just give us a bunch of money. I was like, I don't really have a bunch of money, but what I do have is I have after school program material, and I'll teach you guys how to do after school camps and things like that. That was really successful in my school, and they took me up on that, and I tested for my fourth degree black belt through them. But while I was there testing, there was a guy that rented their school out to teach Kempo on, I think it was like Thursday nights or something like that. And I started talking with him because I was a Kempo black belt, and I came up through Kempo when I was younger. There was Black Belt Magazine. I subscribed to that, and there was this guy in there named Fred Villari, and he had a Shaolin Kempo Karate video correspondence series, and I bought those videos, and I watched them, and I never corresponded or tested or anything, but I watched the videos. I thought his martial art was cool. When I got up to be second degree black belt in Taekwondo, it was a few years before I could test for third degree, so I was like, I'm gonna do some Kempo. I'm going to pick up Kempo training. So I had tried to look for someone from that art over on the West Coast, but they're mainly on the East Coast. But there was someone that was a student that then started a different school. So it wasn't Shaolin Kempo Karate, but it was a kind of a offshoot of them. So I went and I got a black belt through them. I trained up with them for a while. So I was talking with this Kempo guy at school. His name's Kevin Jackson, and he was an Ed Parker guy. And we were talking about, Kempo and differences of karate, just having, philosophical martial arts conversations that people do. And he told me what I think is the greatest thing ever, and it's how to evaluate self-defense techniques. And it was so great that I eventually started following him around, and I trained over him to get my second degree black belt in Kempo. But anyway, his thing was whenever you are going to attack me, my go-to is eye strike, groin slap. So if you're coming at me, I'm thinking eye strike, groin slap. And that is what I'm going to compare every single technique that is ever taught to that. Is your technique better than me jamming my fingers into your eyes and slapping your testicles? And if the answer is no, I'm just going to stick to eye strike, groin slap, because why would I go to anything else? But if it's better than that, then I want to learn it. So that's something that anytime I see a technique, I go back to that. I think, is this better than eye strike, groin slap? And if no, then I don't worry about it. But the thing about these techniques, and when you're looking at it, if you have like a go-to, like this is what I'm thinking of, these movements, is there a reason I can't do that? Like, does he have a knife or a gun, and like going for eye strike would get me cut, or I would get shot doing it, so then I have to think about some other technique or whatever. But a lot of times I'm thinking, how do I work this into eye strike, groin slap? So anyway, just a fun story, and I think it's nice to have signature techniques, and signature technique of eye strike, groin slap. I have changed it. I don't like to steal my old sensei's moves entirely, so I call it pie face. I have a video out there, same thing, but I like the idea of I can hit with it, I could, come into the neck with it. I could still get those eyes with it. But then, doing the good old groin strikes is a good follow-up to anything, and it works really well on the ground. Groin punching is my favorite way to get out of any jiu-jitsu technique. That's the Keith Hackney school of thinking. If you go back all the way to UFC, was that in 1? Can't remember if that was in 1 or if that was in 3 or one of those. But anyway, Keith Hackney, if you don't know who that is, stop watching me. Look him up. He's the only guy in the UFC who have submission via groin strikes, and that is something to aspire to. You guys have a great day.